I'm going to start today by talking about something that I see happening constantly when people are running businesses. Because inevitably, at some point along that journey, you're going to start feeling overwhelmed. Things start slipping, content perhaps becomes inconsistent, follow ups maybe forgotten, clients take that little bit longer to reply to than perhaps we might like. Inboxes begin to get a bit chaotic, and very quickly, the story people tell themselves is that the problem is motivation. People think they need to be more disciplined, they need to work harder, they think they need to get better at time management. But after working with business owners for years, I've noticed something really, really interesting. Most overwhelm in business is not caused by lack of motivation. It's caused by a lack of structured systems. And that is a very, very important distinction. You see, motivation is a personal resource. Systems are a structural resource. And if you try and run a business entirely on personal resource, eventually you're going to hit a wall. Let me explain what I mean by all of this. You see, most businesses, especially when they start, are run almost entirely inside the founder's head. Everything lives in your memory. You remember who you need to follow up with. You remember what content needs posting. You remember which clients need replying to. You remember the admin. You remember the invoices. You remember the next thing that needs doing. And at first, maybe you manage this quite well because there aren't that many moving parts, perhaps at this stage in your business. But businesses grow. More clients appear, more communication appears, more marketing opportunities appear, more general opportunities appear, and suddenly your brain is carrying dozens and dozens of small operational responsibilities. Now, it could be that none of those tasks are particularly difficult, but the fact is they never arrive in isolation. They arrive constantly. A message here, an email there, a task you need to remember for tomorrow or next week, something you promised someone last week, a piece of content you meant to publish and never got round to. And the result is something that most business owners experience at some point, but generally struggle to describe. Constant mental pressure. You are never fully able to switch off. Even when you're not actively working, your brain is still holding your business, still remembering things, still tracking things, still worrying about things. And over time, it eats away. And that creates exhaustion. Not necessarily physical exhaustion, but cognitive exhaustion. And often that's worse. This is where people start thinking that they're the problem. They think they're disorganized. Perhaps they're not disciplined enough. They maybe lack focus. But what's actually happening is something much more structural. Their business has no operational support. Everything is relying on their brain. And brains are brilliant tools for creativity and judgment. But they are terrible filing cabinets and storage systems. They're not designed to hold dozens of operational processes indefinitely. And this is why I believe calm systems matter so much. You see, a system removes the need for you to remember. It removes the need to make constant small decisions. It allows processes to happen automatically. For example, instead of remembering to follow up with every lead, a follow-up sequence exists. Instead of remembering to publish content, it's scheduled in advance. Instead of manually onboarding every client from scratch, a structured onboard process can run that for you. Each system removes a small amount of mental pressure from you. And those reductions can compound very, very quickly. Suddenly, the business stops living entirely in your head, and that changes everything. Now, this is where the conversation about AI becomes very interesting, in my opinion, because a lot of public conversation about AI focuses on speed, faster content, faster output, faster marketing, bigger incomes. But I actually think the more interesting use of AI is operational support. The ability to create small assistants that work inside your business for you. Each assistant responsible for just one operational function. One assistant, for example, might gather potential leads for you. Another, perhaps they can organize your onboarding workflow. Another one might manage your content repurposing. And each assistant does just one job consistently, quietly supporting the structure of your business. And when this support exists on this level, the emotional experience of running a business changes dramatically. Your business becomes calmer, not necessarily slower and not necessarily smaller, but calmer. You have more control because the operational layer is no longer sitting entirely on your shoulders. And this idea sits right at the heart of what I talk about here on this channel. Businesses that support your life, not businesses that consume it. Because the truth is, most people don't start business because they want to work more hours or they want to work harder. Usually, we start a business because we want some kind of freedom, more flexibility, more autonomy. But without systems, often the opposite occurs. Businesses become heavier, you have increased responsibility, more mental pressure, more decisions, and eventually people reach a point where they feel permanently overwhelmed, which is why this conversation needs to change. Overwhelm in business is rarely a motivational problem. It is almost always a system problem. And when systems start to appear, the business becomes lighter, which is exactly what we are all aiming for. Now, as always, if you enjoy this kind of calm, practical thinking about running a business, make sure you subscribe because this is exactly what I explore here each and every week. And if you want a simple starting point for introducing calm systems into your own business, I've created something called the Calm AI Quick Start Guide. It's free, and you'll find the link in the bio for this channel. It walks you through how AI can support operational work in your business without replacing your voice or your relationships. You can download it using, as I said, the link in my bio. And if this topic interests you, I've created a full series on calm AI systems for business owners. You can watch the next video in that series here. It's coming up next.